welcome back to our audience edition of Hannity. As you can see, the conversation never stops. Now, a teenage boy in Texas was sentenced to 10 years probation, no jail time, after driving drunk and killing these 4 innocent victims. Now, while prosecutors sought 20 years in jail for the teen, the defense argued that Ethan Couch, the 16-year-old driver, suffered from affluenza, a so-called psychological disorder which stems from having wealthy and privileged parents and little to no discipline. Really? Not surprisingly, the family members of the victims, they're stunned by the judge's decision and the fact that money bought his way out of a proper punishment. Listen to what the father and husband of 2 of the victims had to say.
Money always seems to keep Ethan out of trouble. This was one time I did ask the court that for justice and that for money not to prevail.
Wow, pretty unbelievable. Mike, you've been covering this story in detail.
I've spent a lot of time in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The entire community there is outraged over this. And the truth of the matter is, it's the family of the 16-year-old who killed these 4 people who hired a so-called clinical psychologist expert to testify that the parents were basically lousy parents who gave this kid everything he wanted all of his life. He had another drunk driving arrest right before this happened, and a 14-year-old an underage girl was passed out next to him, undressed, wow. And his parents gave him no consequences. So the father has ended up and said, I'll pay the $450,000 a year for a rehab facility in California, and it's got horses and it's near the beach.
Isn't that
and this
nice?
kid has just, and that's their defense.
Is there
it's
anybody that supports this? No. All right. Isn't this, though, a natural outcome in society where we don't force people to take blame? People aren't responsible for their decisions in life. It's always somebody else's fault. They didn't proper education. They didn't live in the right neighborhood. Can't we all make excuses for our behavior? Yeah.
I study criminal justice extensively. There's no accountability left in the American criminal justice system. What should happen here is the parents should go to jail also, not let the kid get off.
I don't agree with that.
That's what needs to happen. If these parents are enablers and they enabled this to happen, they should have a conspiracy theory under which they go to jail.
Defense attorney.
Yes.
I've represented people who've been in situations like this, and let's talk about the justice system. Do I agree with this? Do I agree with this outcome? No. But we had a judge who went along with the probation. We have a kid who had a defense attorney, prosecutors. Let's look at the judicial system. You were in support of the George Zimmerman verdict, but you're not in support of this. And both things, there's a balance of one. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. We're talking about the balancing of a judicial system where some win and some lose, and that's what makes America great.
Hold on, one at a time. Angela.
That does not have one to do with the other.
I'm not supporting this verdict, Angela.
Look, the criminal justice system is not balanced when it comes to money. Look at O.J. It depends on who you can pay for as a lawyer. And if you don't have great legal defense, and if you don't have the money to pay for it, more than likely you go to jail.
Tamara, you want to follow up?
Yeah, I'd love to follow up. I think that there are the have-nots that lose all the time, that have to take pleas.
And they have to cut a deal.
Right. But that is a problem with the judicial system.
It has nothing to do with the George Zimmerman case. Do not use that case.
All right, one at a time. Amy,
here's
what's
what
up?
I want to know. What about the responsibility of the judge who went along with this? Who is this judge? Lindsay Lohan? The judge has these people in front of her every single day and can make, judicious decisions about punishment. 4 people are dead. Innocent people are dead because of this kid.
Sean, we are seeing downward departing all over this country, and particularly it's troubling when it comes to rape cases. We have seen issues where judges have not held child molesters accountable, and there has to be some of accountability for these judges. They cannot just downward depart and ignore what's happening. And if the penalties aren't stiff enough,
I'm against lifetime appointments for judges.
I agree.
And that means the Supreme Court.
If the penalties are not stiff enough, we need to increase the penalties. Some of these judges are elected. So therefore, we've got to make sure that the people within their communities understand what's going on. But we're seeing a problem with child predators not being held accountable.
For the record, her term expires next year, and she's retiring, she's out, she's gone. So she has no accountability.
That's the question. What motivates this, right? Why would she want to do this and let this kid off? It's absolutely unfathomable, except if she's a judge who's making laws herself.
More importantly, what would make the...
I'm not trying to show compassion, but in a way I am.
You are.
Well, but he's 16. He didn't mean to kill 4 pedestrians. He chose to drink, and as you pointed out, he chose to drink and do questionable things in the past as well.
but maybe the decision is maybe we try to reform him.
So he belongs in jail for something that he did. If he's going to make the adult decision to drink, which I'm sorry, at 21 is legal, you're 16 years old, but you can't do jail time for killing 4 innocent people. You made a very terrible decision in your life, and you should pay the consequences for that.
And mark my words, he will be in trouble again. This kid is now getting away with essentially getting away with murder. He's gotten away. He's gotten away with it before with that 14-year-old girl that you referenced in the car.
Yep.
He knows. He knows he can get away. He's going to get away with something again, and I hope the justice system will catch up with him a third time.
Good points. And when we come back, coming up, they've outdone themselves this time. The group American Atheists has put up this unfestive billboard in Times Square in New York, asking who needs Christ during Christmas. When we come back, our studio audience is going to weigh in. The war on Christmas never ending. Straight ahead.